Welcome back, Masters, from the meditation. I hope you had a good meditation and a relaxing time. So, today, um, le- let's start with the lessons from the Gita. So, this is a book wherein we have many lessons, which is beautifully and very simplified way explained. It is basically for the students. Where this I found this book in my book rack. Actually, I had bought this for my daughter, but somehow it was like I couldn't find it for many days. Recently, when I was cleaning, I got this book and I started reading it. It was like very much interesting and very like very even kids can understand to some extent. So let me first give a brief explanation. Although many of us know the origin of Bhagavad Gita and about Mahabharata. So, just a brief before I get into the lesson from the Gita. So, the Mahabharata, in which there were two groups, Kauravas and Pandavas, and both of them are brothers, I mean, cousin brothers. So, there was a situation where they were fighting for the kingdom, and after all the discussions, everything, arguments, they had to go find which took place in Kurukshetra. So Krishna, he was on the Pandava side. So the on the day when the war had to begin in the Kurukshetra, there were two mighty armies standing opposite to each other, the Kauravas and the Pandavas. So Arjuna, Krishna was a charioteer for Arjuna. When Arjuna saw the mighty army of Kauravas, in that army, he saw his brothers, his uncles, grandfather, his beloved teacher, Dronacharya. Seeing all of them, till then he was very much excited and courageous. But after seeing all of them, he felt very bad, guilt, and very weak. He told Krishna that I cannot go for this war. I cannot kill my own people. I can't, after that, I cannot live with this guilt. And Krishna tried to explain him, convinced him, tried to convince him in all the ways, but he was not convinced. So Krishna was telling, like, you came to this war and you know whom you were fighting before also. You had enough time to debate the rightness and wrongness of it before the decision to the fight was made. You cannot start thinking about it now, Arjuna. So, in spite of telling and explaining him logically all the different ways that Krishna could do, he couldn't get convinced. And finally, that was a time when the Bhagavad Gita got origined. And through Arjuna, we are all fortunate to get to know about it. So the first lesson which came was from the Gita. It is about to don't look outside for the help, instead look inside. So this whatever I told the story, this is the background. Now let me get into the lesson. Krishna is amused at Arjuna's attempts to find excuses for his sudden weakness on the battlefield, but pleased that he has finally stopped arguing and accepted that he does not know what to do. There is no shame in admitting that you don't know what's right. In fact, it is the first step to figuring out what it is. So, how do you figure out what's right? Do you ask people around you and listen to anyone who has an opinion and is willing to share it? Absolutely not, says the Gita. Instead, it exhorts you to be like Arjuna. Arjuna knows that if he walks away from the battlefield, his opponents will snigger at him, calling him a coward who got cold feet at the sight of their mighty army. His brothers, wives, and children, not to mention his teachers and elders, will be disappointed in him. The army he is supposed to lead will be embarrassed by his desertion and furious at his betrayal, and history will label him a traitor. If he stays and fights, however, everyone will call him a hero and sing his praises, and generations of men to follow will revere him as a great warrior. Given these two options, most people would have picked the second one without a moment's thought. The fact that Arjuna didn't is what makes him worthy. It wasn't what other people thought that mattered to him. It was what he himself felt in his own heart. So this is the first lesson, masters. Let me repeat. It wasn't what other people thought that mattered to him. It was what he himself felt in his own heart. But his heart was completely at war with itself. That's when Arjuna made his second good decision. He didn't simply close out one bad option and choose the other, saying, I will think about the wisdom of it all later once the war is done. Instead, he decided to resolve his inner conflict right then and there. Never mind how long it took or how inconvenient it would make things for him and possibly everyone else. He simply put his bow down and turned to Krishna for advice. So, who is Krishna anyway? And where can you find him? In the Gita, which is the holy book for Hindus, Krishna is portrayed as God himself, and God is portrayed as man's best and closest friend, someone he can talk to about anything, and whose advice given with love and understanding he can trust completely. However, if you find the idea of talking to God strange, you can talk instead to your conscience, your own inner voice, which usually knows what the right thing to do in a given situation is. All you need to do is to shut out the defining thoughts that fill your head. For example, the thoughts such as, what will others think about me? Or if others think that I am weird, or if they think that I'm not cool enough, or I'm not fun enough, or I'm a stupid. So shut out all these defining thoughts that fill your head, and you will hear your quiet inner voice giving you the right advice. Try it the next time you are confused about what to do in a tough situation. It may not always be easy to follow that advice. More often than not, it will be very difficult. Obeying your inner voice may not always make you happy or popular or cool at the time, but later you will be content, knowing that it was the right thing to have done, and that's what really counts. So, masters, these two were the lessons in this chapter. The first thing is what I told. It wasn't what other people think that should matter to us. It is rather how we really feel inside our heart, that is most important. And the second is listening to our inner voice instead of asking people about their opinions or guidance or anything, because each person will have their own opinions. It could be right according to their um, understanding, but if we want the real and the proper guidance, it is always better to go inside. That is nothing but keeping our thoughts aside, and that is what we are doing every time when we are sitting in meditation, observing our breath. That is the time wherein we get a proper and a right guidance. And one more beautiful example the author has given here, a small bit from a novel, To Kill a Mockingbird. It is written by Harper Lee. There was a 7-year-old girl, Scott, and her father, Atticus, who is a lawyer. Her father, Atticus, takes a decision to defend a black man against a white man in the court. The story is set in the 1930s in a small conservative town in Alabama, a part of the USA that was highly racist at that time. The white population of the town is furious with Atticus and Scout, and they had to face many insults. One day, Scout asked her father exactly why he was taking on such a controversial case. And her father, Master, he has given such a beautiful explanation. Like he said, well, most folks seem to think that they are right and you're wrong. They are certainly entitled to think that, and they are entitled to full respect for their opinions. But before I can live with other people's opinion, I have got to live with myself. The one thing that doesn't abide by majority rule is a person's conscience. Goes to fight the case and lost. But his children never forgot the lesson in courage and conviction that he taught them by his actions. So these two were the beautiful lessons wherein we can put into practice. So before I conclude, I would like to share my experience regarding going inside. Recently, I had a situation in my life where I had to take a decision. It was like a Y junction for me, and it's a major decision. Like whatever, whether I choose the path A or path B, it would change my future and my kids' future. So I was in very, very big confusion, and I felt it was the biggest decision of my life. So I discussed with many of my friends, relatives, my parents, and everyone, but I was not convinced. I mean, they were giving their own suggestions, but somehow deep inside, I was not convinced or satisfied with it. Few people were telling to take path A, few people were telling path B. But both I was not happy because I myself was not convinced. I was not happy. So what I did is I just sat in meditation and I surrendered to the universe. So whatever the path is, because I was sure I would get a guidance. So after that, after surrendering to the universe, I didn't get any answer in my meditation. But gradually, what happened is I started getting the right help from people whom I do not even know. They were giving me some, it's not like a suggestions, I can say. They were giving me the facts. With those facts, I could take a better decision. So I don't know those people at all. Through some friends like that, I got a contact and I could discuss with them. And finally, I got the answer. So after that, I was convinced and I decided, so what to do? So this was one recent experience, masters. So it's like we might not get the guidance immediately, but we should have the trust, that faith, that whatever guidance we get from our inner will be the right one. So, masters, if anyone would like to share their experience, please unmute.
Ma'am, so I have a question around this.
Yeah, Anuji, please.
Yeah, so sorry, I joined late actually, but I read the topic and I thought of joining, but somehow I missed on the timing, so I joined late. Apologies for that.
So no problem. It
Um,
is recorded anyways. You can go back and.
yeah, thank you. But yeah, sometimes like when we have to take a decision, our heart says something, our mind says something, right? We are in a conflict that okay, probably this is the right thing to do, but then the heart is saying no, follow this path. Then what we should do, we should again surrender to the universe and then wait, I mean be in the submission mode and allow the path to be clear. Because if we are in a inner conflict that okay, maybe this is something which mind is saying follow, but heart is saying okay, follow this, I mean do this also, then we should sit in silence and like kind of as you said, right, submit to the universe and then just wait patiently.
Yeah, see, that conflict will always be there, I think, in every situation.
Hmm.
But what I feel is the more we do our sadhana regularly,
Hmm.
the more we do regularly, our
Hmm.
intuition grows.
Hmm.
With that intuition, definitely we know it is only we who can understand whether we are
Hmm.
doing it correctly or no. No one can,
Hmm.
I mean, the other person cannot judge.
Hmm.
So only through sadhana, only through our
Hmm.
knowledge and meditation, this can happen.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I apart from that, there is no other way. Yeah,
Hmm.
mind way it gives us all the logical reasons. I can say it is useful.
Hmm.
I don't say that we have to
Hmm.
completely reject those thoughts or
Hmm.
something. It helps
Hmm.
us. But what I can say is
Hmm.
uh, follow your heart. That is the best thing. What I can say.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, okay, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Anuj. Masters, what we can do is, because these book it has a lot of lessons, maybe again the next session will be about this topic, will be on Wednesday evening. So we can practice this one, like going inside. Whatever the challenges we get in this 1 week, we can try implement it and see and share our experience in the next week. And again, when we come with the next lesson, we can practice it for 1 week and integrate with the first lesson. So yeah, we as a group, we can do this and share our experiences. It will be benefited to every one of us. Thank you, Sumati ji. Thanks a lot, Rupa ji. Thank you, Sushila ji. Yeah, I'll be sharing the music in the group. Okay, masters. If we have nothing to share, let's join in tomorrow's morning meditation session. Have a nice evening. Thank you. Thank you, Vindhya ji.